So today we are going to be unloading the new engine from the truck. The ground is really soft because of rain, so I can't get the forklift that they have here over here safely. It would probably sink, so I'm going to have to do it manually. Simple matter to take off the two straps and lift the top off and unload, and then we're going to go through what we have today and see what all is included in the AirPlains 180 horsepower upgrade kit for the Cessna 172. This engine hoist won't span a pallet, but I need to move it around, so I'm just going to set it on the engine hoist itself, like that. Now we're off the truck, ready to go. This is not from AirPlains, but I wanted to show this off quickly before going on further. I wanted to order some decals with our logos, but I plan on these going on the sides of the tail. I have two of them. Since they are mostly going to be seen in Ecuador, I did the Spanish version of our logo, and they came out pretty nice, I think. So this plane will stand out. Okay, aside from what you've already seen, this is where we're going to start. We're going to start with the things that are already out. I have not seen anything in any of these boxes, so this is new for me as well, other than, of course, packing the stuff up and reading labels on the boxes. We obviously have a engine mount. This is a new engine mount, a different type. The other one was a bed. It had a framework underneath the engine sat in it. This one, the engine is going to be mounted here at the back and sit like this. So that's one nice new piece. Obviously we have a vent or drain tube of some kind. I'm not sure which one this is. I bet if we take a look, we'll find out. But I need my glasses for that. This is a crankcase vent. Very nice, clean, new, of course. Then we also have a brand new throttle cable. And now we have some baffling pieces. These are all going to be powder coated with the baffling material, the rubber seal material already attached. And yes, this is the first I'm seeing of them. As you can see, they are formed very precisely. They are installed with nut plates. They have the baffling material cut, shaped, riveted on. Here we have another baffle, left front, I believe it said on the package. We'll put those back so they're in the right places, of course. But again, it's got strengthening things riveted on, all bent and curved nicely, then powder coat finished with a very nice flexible silicone for the good seal. This is the right-hand front baffle assembly. And of course, if one is done that way, you know the other is going to be equivalent. Very, very nicely done. I think I had some video of the old ones. I'll try to include some of that here so you can see the comparison. Basically, there is no comparison. And this is a left-hand rear baffle assembly. Next we have a nice bag. It's like I can always use another bag, but this one is here for a reason, not just a bag. I mean, they obviously gave me a nice t-shirt, which has a pocket. But this is going to be the paperwork for this conversion kit. So we have our N number right here on the front of it, have the STCs that it covers, the serial number of the aircraft, and the conversion serial number. And then we have our STC paperwork authorization, the flight manual supplement, installation instructions, part lists and drawings, and warranty information. So this is going to be everything regarding this, including how to break your engine in, all the instructions for servicing your engine, the way the cables, wires run, everything like that, and every bit of paperwork that you need for this engine and this installation kit. See, this is blueprints for modifying the cowling so you can check the oil. This engine has the oil dipstick in a different place than the other engine did. So this engine has the oil stuff, the oil check and fill in a different place than the other engine. So to be able to access those, you have to modify the cowling. I also believe the exhaust is in a slightly different place, so there should be one in here to modify it for the different exhaust as well. And then some decals, which you probably can't see too well right there, but it's the 172XP AirPlains 180 horsepower conversion. Now I have 3 boxes that are nicely labeled. This is a gross weight increase kit. When you increase the horsepower of the airplane, you can purchase the kit that allows you to increase the gross weight of the aircraft. This means you can carry more. Because the engine has more power, it's allowed. Part of this installation kit, however, requires modifying the airframe. There is a tube attached to the propeller box over there with 3 stringers that have to be installed in the back of the fuselage. And these strengthen it so that it can handle the extra weight. So inside this box we have some fun packing material. We have a stop sleeve and another box with an airspeed indicator in miles per hour that's true. Now I'll have to talk to them because I believe we weren't going to get this, but since I'm going to a digital instrument, I won't need that instrument. So part of the change for the gross weight increase is different markings on the airspeed indicator. So if you're keeping your steam gauges, then you will have to do this option, which is a modified one. They changed the plate on the back so it indicates different speeds. With the EFIS, I do not have to worry about that. Next is the cowling modification kit. This is probably going to be that oil door and associated pieces, and sure enough, here is a door with a little push button release, hinge already assembled, it snaps and locks up. We have an induction air plate, all very nicely labeled. This is an inlet cover. This is the exhaust cutout doubler. So we are going to have to modify, as I said, the exhaust outlets, and that doubler will be part of that structure change. For plugging the old exhaust hole, here is a doubler used for that, and a plug. And then we have a doubler for the oil door that goes underneath and adds strength. So this is, as expected, the cowling modification kit. Next we have items for the baffle kit. Now keep in mind that all of these are very specific to my aircraft model. If you have a different aircraft model, then the kit will be different. It will change. So this is very specifically labeled for a 172 180 horsepower baffle kit. And I assume they probably have some other modifications based on the year number of your aircraft as well. This is part of that baffle, similar to those big baffles. These are the smaller pieces that go in and fill in little spaces. This is an airbox support. We have an oil cooler filter baffle, a filler plate, a right-hand side aft baffle assembly. These are little pieces that fill in gaps. A kit with a whole bunch of spacers. Can't tell what it all is, but there's some more baffle material for filling in different places. Various hardware and lots of little things to have fun with. Then we have something that almost looks like a hatchet, but it is a right side forward baffle assembly and a left side forward baffle assembly. Now we have our propeller kit. So this is going to be the back plate and mounting stuff for our propeller and spinner. We have a belt. We have the aft spinner bulkhead and the forward spinner bulkhead. And we actually have a new spinner. Now this is labeled engine install kit. So let's see what kind of fun things we have in here. Okay, packed very nicely. We have a hose assembly. It has a part number, so according to the part list, it'll tell me where that goes. Right now, I have no clue. We have a big, heavy fuel hose of some kind. This is a kit with a whole bunch of washers, hose clamps. Those look like tubing ducting clamps, wire connector ends covers, a grounding strap. We even have what look to be, let's see, can't tell how many there are. They are either engine mount bolts or prop mount bolts. 2, 4. I see 4, so they are probably brand new engine mount bolts would be my guess. But we'll find that out when we go through the paperwork for sure. We have 4 engine mounts. Then we have a scat tubing hose for, could be for your cabin air, could be for the air inlet, hard to say. And here's another one, a larger diameter. Then we have some what looks to be Tefzel wire and some heavier wire, which would probably be for new starter wires or alternator wires, and again a heavy insulated wire. So they are providing everything here, including brand new wire connectors. It really is a true firewall forward kit. Everything forward as a firewall has been included here. This box is a base kit, AF mod kit, airframe, and BH engine kit. So this is a airframe modification kit according to this. So this would be basically part of the modifications required for the larger horsepower engine. This is a AF mod kit, so airframe modification kit. We have some bolts, some various pieces. That looks like a metal plug, a curved metal piece, and again the instructions and everything will detail this and tell you what it all is. We've got terminals, splice butts, an inline fuse, and a bolt of some kind. And then this is the base kit. This includes a data plate and the engine information system placard and a filter element. So this is our base kit. Engine prep kit. So, bubble packing on top, and then the sides. Some more packing material, more packing material. They make sure this is packed well. I went and picked this up, so I was able to know that it was taken care of all through the trip, but if this is going to you via shipping, it is very nice to know how well it's packed. They would normally pack all these little boxes on a second pallet, and it would be 2 pallets. I chose to take all the boxes and the engine mounts separate because I was able to put them inside the truck and put the engine on the back. I'm only 6 hours away from them, so it was not a big issue to drive that distance. And it was nice to be able to see their facility, meet them in person, and know that if I have any questions, they'll be able to hopefully put a face to the name. Here we have our oil cooler. It's a 7-row engine oil cooler. I'm curious what that looks like, so I'm going to open that up. Okay, here is our 7-row engine oil cooler. Very nice, and we will of course package that up again very nicely. This is our new airbox assembly, and this will have the filter attached on the front, be at the bottom of the engine, and that directs air in and through your oil cooler. This one does not have a label, but we've got some loose labels. Let's see. We've got a muffler. Okay, that's underneath there. Carburetor heat shroud. A muffler shroud. And a bolt. And then this assembly. Here we have a throttle bracket. So we have a chromalloy powder-coated steel tube assembly that is mounted either on that engine mount or onto the engine, and it's most likely on the engine, and that holds your throttle cable so that it's very secure, does not slip at all. There is a bunch of hardware in here for cables, cable clamps, bolts, nuts, hose clamps, a whole bunch of stuff for that type of thing. Gaskets, fuel line fittings. We have some fuel lines. Some more packing material for protecting things. And then we have our exhaust tubes. So we have a bunch of these number 1 cylinder exhaust tube. So they are labeled as to what they are, so you get them in the right place. This is a number 3 exhaust stack. This is the number 4. This is our number 2. Now this aircraft had a 2 separate exhausts. There was one on each side, and they were kind of small. This is your heating shroud. This goes around it, and your air will flow through there that goes into your cabin to provide heat. So it gets hot by running around the outside of your muffler. This is the new muffler. There is only one. You have the 2 inputs, and there's going to be some junction pieces somewhere. Oh no, 2 on that side and 2 on that side. That's how it goes together. So now it'll be a single exhaust as opposed to 2 individual exhausts, which is why we have exhaust plugs and things like that to close up what was already there. And again, that's going to be aircraft and engine specific. If you get one of these kits, it will very specifically depend on which engine you have and the configuration, because it makes a big difference. This is our alternator. It does not come installed on the engine. We will have to install that ourselves. They give us all the wiring for it, all of the cables and end connectors. This is a 12-volt Lycoming alternator. We have a bracket, a pin, some spacers, bolts, and washers in that bag. And then the clamshell halves here don't seem to want to come apart. Looks like they use a spray foam inside these bags to make a very nice seal around it, so the alternator is packaged extremely well. And here is our new alternator from Plane Power. Now this is labeled as a prop with spacer on the label, and appears as spacer and bolt kit. So take a look at this one. Okay. In a nice cloth bag, these are going to be the prop bolts. So it does include the spinner, the prop bolts, the nuts, all the hardware. Each one is packaged with a rubber cap protecting all the threads all the way up to the shank. They are, of course, drilled for safety wire, and we have 6 of those in this little bag. Some more packing material, and then some bubble wrap around a very nice heavy prop hub. So we have a very nicely machined prop hub here with our locators for the propeller. And the last of the small boxes, Skytech. So if you know anything about airplanes, you'll probably know what that is already. They make very, very good lightweight starters. We have a Hartzell Engine Technologies information card there. The Plane Power apparently is now owned by Hartzell as well. And it is packaged similarly in that we have a spray foam type insulated packing system that cradles it and protects it very, very well. Back when I did my home built, I used Plane Power and Skytech as well because they made very lightweight starters and alternators that produced excellent power. This is a much heavier one than my little plane had, but it's also 2.5 times the horsepower. The engine is much larger. So that is the new starter. Now we have a good sized metal tube. I'm guessing they had these as padding for installing it there on the top of the prop box. So this was attached to it to keep it stable. Those would normally come shipped separate as well, so you'd have the 2 pallets basically, and then your propeller box. These are going to be the 3 channels that have to be installed in the back of the fuselage. Yep, that is all of it. So there are 3 pieces here, 1, 2, and 3. And these pieces, in accordance with the instructions, have to get installed in the tail cone, and they add a stiffening to the tail, a strengthening. Since we are stripping the aircraft down and repainting, it's a perfect time to put these in, because you have to drill either drill out or drill new rivet holes. I'm not sure yet because I have not read through the manual to see. But either way, these will have to get installed and new rivets would have to be painted. So getting it done before we paint is excellent. This is the propeller. This is a Cessna propeller. Interesting enough, I also had a Cessna on my home-built airplane. And I probably have the box upside down, but we'll try to get this open and take a look at our new propeller. And there is our new propeller, very nicely packaged, of course, all metal. Has the white tips on the propeller for visibility. And of course, right here we have our new propeller logbook. In the other airplane, the propeller and engine logbook were combined. But in this case, they give a separate propeller logbook. And I'm sure somewhere in this engine packaging, there's going to be an engine logbook as well. Okay, the small box in the front of the engine has important documents essential for the installation and operation of this engine. Please retain with engine, do not discard. We have an authorized release certificate, a 8130-3 airworthiness approval tag for this engine. Parts shipped with the engine. We have a Lycoming magneto on the left, a slick magneto on the right. Champion spark plugs. And then, of course, all the information and serial numbers for everything on that engine. Enclosed, my ticket to the next level. Lycoming, the sky is calling. A Lycoming sticker. And a thank you for purchasing the Lycoming aircraft engine. So the sky is calling, the mission field is calling. So we now have the engine. Praise the Lord. We have an engine installation checklist. Very nice. Very detailed. That is a good checklist. I like it. And then here we have our engine logbook. So a slightly different format than I'm used to for logbooks, normally little ones, but this is a logbook. You're supposed to place your engine certificate here, log everything in there, and then this is a very nice big log page. So, very good. Okay. Got 2 different things here. One is a hose assembly. This is going to be your main fuel hose. So, all nice and new. This is our carburetor. Of course, always want to take a look at the carburetor. We have a bubble pack with some gaskets, another gasket, some nuts and lock washers, a single drilled bolt, some zip ties, cable clamps, some cable guides, it looks like, and what we assume is a carburetor. And if there's something other than a carburetor in here, I'll be surprised. And here is our brand new, very beautiful carburetor. It is an Abstar. It is all aluminum, very light actually. Brass arms. So let's take a quick look. This will be the last thing in here. It's our oil dipstick tube. Obviously don't have it installed because I don't want it to break. This is plastic, so that will have to get installed into the engine. So the dipstick itself is all metal, but the tubing itself is plastic. Now is now a complete unboxing of our AirPlains Lycoming 0360 A4M upgrade kit, 180 horsepower for my Cessna 172H model. This is a 1966 aircraft, so if you get one for a newer aircraft or older aircraft, some of this will vary. You will have different baffles, maybe different, slightly different things, different engine mount possibly. I'm not sure how similar they stayed. The cowling kits will probably change a little bit, but this hopefully gives you a good idea of what's in it and how nice the kit actually is. So thank you very much, AirPlains, for producing an excellent upgrade kit that we'll be able to install on this airplane now.